In the year 1997, the future is in chaos and turmoil. Mankind is on the brink of extinction. Brave survivors band together and build a time displacement apparatus to receive a signal from a parallel future. This transmission is the Vundacast.
There's one team that kicks ass. They're assembled. They're the Vundacast. Never back down from the brass. Always start first. Never finish last. Had a max speed. Bit too fast. Oh no, they're out of gas. It's okay there. Just a podcast. They're the greatest. We're the Vundacast.
Welcome to the Vundacast, the official podcast of the Biodome. I am your host, Squirrely Steven. Yeah. And with me today is the ever stubby Danielle.
Oh yeah, the character in the movie we watched for some inexplicable reason. Yeah.
And our non-binary scientific genius.
Wait, I have to be the bad guy?
There were 4 other good scientists.
Do you want
Oh, yeah,
the
that's
bug
true,
one?
yeah.
You could be the bug scientist.
Yeah, I can be, what's his name? Yeah, that guy.
His name was Romulus.
Romulus, yes.
It was not.
His name was
It
Romulus.
was, yeah, it was totally.
Got a great scientific name.
Amazing. He's perfect.
I'm gonna verify
The
this.
name of the scientist in The Simpsons.
Frank?
Frank?
No, I mean, like, not like an actual, but like, that's like what they would call, you know, like Data is the fucking nerd kid. And
Yeah.
His name was T.C. Romulus.
Oh.
so he's got a first and a middle name.
Put some
that we
respect
don't know.
on his name.
I assume it's like Thaddeus Chad Romulus.
He's Chad.
Thad Chad Romulus. One of those bad Chads. On this very, very special episode of the Vundacast, we are here to talk about and celebrate the 25th anniversary of the 90s stoner classic Biodome.
An auspicious occasion if there ever was.
Perfect.
Well, it came out January 12th, 1996. It was getting dumped, as many movies do in January. And they assumed that it was going to be a failure, that they blew their $15 million. And guess what? It was a failure. It only made $13 million. But
So I looked this up. It had an $8 million budget, but they also spent $10 million promoting it. So they actually lost money.
if only they had told no one that Pauly Shore was in it, then they
I
might have
think
made a
that
profit.
I think that was actually part of the problem. Didn't it kind of come towards the end of that Pauly Shore trend?
You think people were burned out on Pauly?
People got sick of Pauly Shore real
Yeah.
quick.
Let's see. When did Pauly Shore's career blow up?
One of the things that I learned from this movie, I think this is the first time I've ever seen a Pauly Shore movie, is that every single thing you've ever seen where someone made fun of Pauly Shore in like a TV show is 1,000% accurate. It's not like satire. It's not exaggerated at all. This is exactly what he's like, and it's like so hilarious.
Okay, so in 1992, he's in Encino Man and becomes a rising star.
Yep.
Then in 93, they give him his own movie, Son-in-Law, which is a success.
Oh,
Then they gave him his other next movie, In the Army Now, 1994.
Yep.
right.
Then a Goofy movie comes out, cementing him in pop culture history forever.
Yeah.
Then 1996.
Decided on this formula. They just decided on this formula of put Pauly Shore somewhere. There's no earthly reason why he should be
I'm right.
hilarity.
After Biodome failed, he literally did like nothing of note. He started doing weird Playboy things with Jenny McCarthy. He started to do animation. He was voice acting a lot. I'm telling you, 96, it was done. People were tired of him. They were over it. They were like, no more.
I wonder how many making fun of Pauly Shore characters he did the voice of.
Not enough.
Right.
So we're gonna celebrate the nail in the coffin of Pauly Shore's career.
Celebrating.
My favorite thing. I don't know. I don't want to. If you want to. I'm like, okay, I realized how bad this movie was when it came out, like how badly it was received, and I wanted to look at the Rotten Tomatoes consensus. It has a 4% currently with 25 reviews, and I really want to read some of these.
I've actually pulled up some quotes from some reviews.
It has an even worse rating on Metacritic, which actually aggregates reviews. It has a 1% out of 100 on Metacritic. It's one of like 10 movies that's ever gotten a rating that low.
Holy crap. Did you get this one from John Anderson from Los Angeles Times? Despite the advances humankind has made since dragging itself out of the primordial ooze, Shore is a successful comedian.
Oh my God.
John, goddamn, John.
I have the Spokesman review from 1996. Lock this movie in a biodome forever. Sometimes a movie is so crummy, a thesaurus just isn't enough. You want to invent new words for rotten. Graxious, tripular. Biodome is such a movie. Pauly Shore and Stephen Baldwin are a pair of waste cases who wander into environmentally controlled blah, 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 blah.
Shore captured the Razzie Award for Worst Male Lead.
Yeah. I think that's probably why it was better than I expected it to be. Just because I expected it to be like the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my God, look, I'm right. Alex Sandel of the Juicy Cerebellum in 2002 wrote, "It's good for one reason. It killed Pauly Shore's career." It was the career killer.
Okay, The Washington Post. Halfway into Biodome, the malodorous new comedy about a group of scientists whose experiment is spoiled by a pair of polluting intruders. A character complains that their mission has been turned into a non-stop moronathon. Perhaps inadvertently, she has perfectly described the movie as well.
Oh my God.
Scott Weinberg of eFilmCritic.com said, "Can there even be a low point to Pauly Shore's career?" Way to channel Chandler Bing there.
Right.
Way to channel him.
And then I have a positive review, sort of.
Oh, wow.
From JoeBlow.com. To call Biodome a stoner movie is too modest. It's definitely in the upper echelon of all-time stupid movies. Picture a film in the vein of Dumb and Dumber, but somehow even less subtle in its stupidity. Now imagine that movie on narcotics. Or maybe I just felt like I was on drugs after the sensory assaulting opening credits. There's so much immature nonsense and uninhibited idiocy on display that it perfectly captures what I found funny at 12 years old.
See, I feel like that's an interesting comparison, I think, also because like the thing about like Dumb and Dumber and like Beavis and Butthead is like this too. Like it's incredible. Like the main protagonists are so incredibly stupid, but the stuff that's happening around them like sets them up for some like actually really smart comedy.
Yeah.
And this movie doesn't do that.
No, it's not.
movie, everyone's super dumb. Like even the scientists are like not that smart. They like the whole thing. Steven pointed out, like, why don't they just start the timer like an hour later?
Why don't they just start it over 15 minutes? No, man, the best. No, okay, so this is my final one. It doesn't have an author name. It just says Entertainment Weekly. So whoever was writing critiques for Entertainment Weekly on 2009 in August, even with the low expectations any reasonable viewer brings to a shore flick, this rates only stupid plus. I don't know what that means, but I get the spirit.
So I was around 11 or 12 when I first saw this movie. So I fit into the demographic where I didn't realize that like I knew it was a dumb movie, but I thought it was, you know, on par with all dumb teenage stonery movies.
Right.
I get you might be right, like maybe, I don't know,
as a kid I never felt like, oh man, this movie has this, you know, this albatross around its head.
I really think the problem with this movie is a stoner movie kind of knows who their audience is, like enough to sort of, I think that it was too sophomoric for even stoners.
Yeah.
And too adult for children.
Right.
Like that sequence, like I have to say, like rewatching it now, the whole fart smelling sequence.
Oh my god.
Like that is just,
it's not a sequence, it's a running theme.
Oh, I'm so sorry. The running gag of smelling farts is like, it's something that only little kids would find hilarious.
Well,
but a little kid cannot and should not watch this movie.
Yeah.
This is the type of movie that was gonna be for like a rated R teenage audience, and then someone decided, let's make it PG-13. Let's make it safe.
Yeah, I guess.
For 13-year-olds and little kids, and that's how all the fart smelling jokes got in.
I think also like there's a way of looking at it too, and like I don't know that I would have looked at it this way, except for the fact that throughout the whole movie, these two seem to be like in a very veiled way, like so gay for each other through the whole movie, and fart smelling is like a kink. So when they're like, especially when they're in the little tent and they're like, he's got him by the leash and he makes him smell like that's
that was really like, that was the one thing I did not remember, and maybe that's why I watched this movie more than once when I was younger. I'm serious. Maybe I was inadvertently attracted to the strange homoerotic undertones.
And it's not homophobic. It's not like making fun of.
Homoerotic, totally.
No, 100% homoerotic.
Yeah. Well, they literally have the line, which I never realized as a kid, how utterly gay it is. But they're like, a biodome? Does that mean it goes both ways? Just like us. Yeah. Let's lick each other's tongues at each other, because that's what two friends do.
Especially at that time, because Pauly Shore, even though I'm relatively certain Pauly Shore is, I don't know if he's ever come out anything. I think he's pretty heterosexual.
Yeah.
I know. But he's always kind of played with gender presentation. So especially at that time, Pauly Shore would go around saying he raided his grandma's closet for clothes. So to have him be in a movie where he's like, I'm gonna like pretend to make out with my best friend and we spend more time with each other than we do with our girlfriends, and it's just sort of like, are you trying to say something, Pauly? Like, is this a message somehow, or is it just that, you know, like,
it really seems like it, doesn't it? Like they're at no point are they making fun of being gay for each other. They're like there's no mocking to it. They just are like super homoerotic with each other.
They never make a joke where they might be intimate with each other and then go, ew, gross, or like touch each other, or have to do something masculine immediately to kind of like.
They don't do anything really homophobic in this movie, as that I can remember.
Also, one of my favorite production qualities and character qualities of the movie is the way that they're constantly just altering and changing their wardrobe throughout the movie because they get locked in like one outfit, and then Pauly Shore spends and Bud, they both spend the movie just slightly altering and adjusting that outfit to like create these looks out the movie, which I thought was really clever and showed the passage of time and just kept the movie visually interesting when it could have gone static.
That's a pretty genius wardrobe person to just be like, okay, they can only have one outfit, but we can't just have them look the exact same throughout the whole movie. So
like, I don't know, there's something, as I discussed the movie, there's such a huge part of it that's just really stupid and gross. But then there's just something real. I think what always attracted me to it as well is I think I really enjoyed the concept that they fucked up and then they had to fix it and then they didn't. I don't know why. I think that's the one redeeming part of the movie.
That's something about this movie that I think that's another reason why it was better than I expected. Like, don't get me wrong, it's terrible. It's like there's a few funny things, but most of the comedy is just awful. It tries really hard to gross you out. It's one of those movies from the 90s.
Yeah.
But the actual story is like pretty legit. Like, if you just look at it from a storytelling perspective, they define the characters, they define their motivations pretty well, they define their journey really well, and it's like a pretty well put together story.
They even have like foreshadowing, because when they go to that lake and it's all messed up and they're like, remember when this used to have like water and shit in it, and then they just compare. And then when it's kind of like, once they get to be in a microcosm of that environment, then they're like, oh no, it's our fault that it's terrible. I know it is. It's really weird because like, I think that if I describe this movie in two different ways, you would think of two different movies. So like if I said, this is a story about two men who have never cared about the environment and they make an ecological disaster and they realize that they have to fix it, you would go, oh, I might be interested in watching it. But then if I told you they also sniff each other's farts and they puke into like weird gas masks and they throw the chips on the floor and shove it in their face, you'd be like, no, I don't
each other's corns. Oh my god.
Okay, kind of seems like to me what happened was I think this guy might have gotten railroaded by Pauly Shore. Like, I kind of feel like this guy was a new director. He was a fresh director, and
And we're back. Thank you, dogs, for that commercial break. The director's name is Jason Blum, the director of Biodome, and this was his second movie. So that fits with Danielle's timeline.
Yeah.
For how she thinks this movie played out.
What was his first movie?
It was a movie called Irving that has no picture.
So that could have been like his school
on
movie.
IMDb.
Yeah, that could have been his school movie. That probably his master's thesis or something.
And he's gone on to direct for iZombie and Veronica Mars.
So he did TV stuff now.
Oh, okay.
Stuck in the TV realm.
Yeah.
He's produced some like direct-to-video action movies
that
and
you've
stuff.
never heard of.
Yeah.
But his name is Jason Blum.
I'm telling you, I think that's what happened. I think that this was his first big job. He got Pauly Shore, who as John said, was inexplicably famous.
A little behind the scenes story. This script was floating around for a while, and at one point they were gonna have unknowns star in this movie, and they had gotten what's his name? The guy Harlan, who's in Half Baked, the tall comedian.
Harlan Williams.
Harlan Williams. He had actually auditioned for the role of Doyle and was about to get the role when the studio decided that they wanted a star and could get Pauly Shore and Stephen Baldwin.
Yeah, man, he would have been kind of great, actually.
Yeah, he would have been.
It would have been a totally different movie. Because this movie is so Pauly Shore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like every single scene
It
is Pauly Shore being 100% Pauly Shore.
Yeah, and it kind of
Just riffing.
It kind of seems like a lot of what happened may have been that they told them to ad lib a lot.
Yeah.
So that's what ended up getting on the cutting room, like getting actually cut into the film. But like Pauly Shore's version of ad-libbing was, wouldn't it be hilarious if I put a dog collar on him and made him smell my farts? And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? But they're like, no, he's a big star. Let him do what he wants. It's gonna be great. Like, I don't understand how they let him do this.
The more we talk about fart sniffing, the more I feel like it's like a natural thematic thing that would come out of writing a movie about people stuck in a dome together. Huh? Because you're stuck in a confined space together.
No,
of course you're gonna smell each other's farts.
No.
That's what life on this planet
But
is.
they did it even before that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like,
This is something that they were doing for fun.
I'm just saying, as a writer, it would naturally come about that you're
I
like,
think
I'm writing Biodome, people are sniffing farts.
The most unbelievable part of that movie to me were the two amazingly hot women.
yes.
Who were like, we love you so much. No.
What?
False.
Like he like
False.
Pauly Shore like sexually harasses one of them, and like 5 seconds later she's like making googly eyes at him. And it's like, what?
They're girlfriends. They're amazingly hot girlfriends.
Right.
Who I would have broken up with them. I probably would have been relieved.
Well,
they were stuck in a bubble.
Well, the girlfriend's plot line is one there to titillate solely.
Yeah.
Because Joy Lauren Adams never wears a bra this whole movie.
Right, yeah.
Okay. I do think it's sweet that Doyle's girlfriend had like a necklace with his name on it for the whole movie, and he had a necklace with her name on it.
Commitment.
The whole movie. And the ultimate thematic message of the movie is that they're gonna stay loyal to their girlfriends.
Loyal to Doyle.
Even though they were just ready to just totally sexually molest these poor
Right.
at any moment's notice.
I think the main reason the girlfriends are there is to move the plot ahead.
Yeah.
Like without them, there's no reason for them to do any of this.
Nope.
And if it weren't for that beautiful plot line of the girlfriends, we would never have the first on-camera appearance of Tenacious D.
Oh my God, legendary.
In cinema history, playing as a band at the ATU, singing about the environment.
That's true.
Kyle Gass has almost a full head of hair.
I wonder what the timeline is, because this movie definitely predates the HBO show Tenacious D. But
Yeah.
they did a bunch of shorts with Liam Lynch, I think, the guy that's directed like everything they've done. And I wonder when those are, like, if those were before, or like if it was in the middle of them doing all of these shorts, or like it was around the same time. Because
I think that this is when they first met together and were working together in the Groundlings, I believe.
really?
Yeah, because this is like really early in the day. This is 1996 times 1995. I don't think they got those balls rolling till the late 90s.
Yeah, that's probably, yeah. It's so according to their Wikipedia, they were formed in 1994. Looking for the shorts. I think they were mostly just like, it was mostly just like a thing they did as a joke up until Biodome, it seems like.
So Biodome was when they're like, we're serious musicians.
Now we're movie stars. We got to back this up.
Or maybe like people were really into it and they were like, hey, maybe we should actually like make some music or a TV show or something. And
yeah, maybe all the extras were laughing when they were writing their songs.
Probably.
I can thank this movie for teaching me the name William Atherton, who played Dr. Noah Faulkner in this movie, who we know best from the film Die Hard and Die Hard 2.
and there was a Die Hard reference in this movie.
Was there?
Yes, at one point he starts singing. I can't remember the name of the piece of music, but the one that goes da 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 da.
Right. Ode to Joy.
And Ode to Joy. Thank you. That was in Die Hard.
And when he's planting bombs.
So when he's planting bombs and he's lost his
Right.
mind, he starts humming it. So that's his.
Oh, that's genius. That's great.
That's his little ode to Die Hard.
This movie would be a great Die Hard. If John McClane was locked in a biodome for a year and terrorists went after it, that would be a great Die Hard.
Why would anyone care about the biodome and the terrorists?
Because you have to save the environment and stuff.
But it's a dome.
Huh? Because it's a message. Don't you understand? The biodome represents the future of mankind.
John McClane tends to save things that like affect actual large.
He got
volumes of people's life.
accidentally. John McClane got accidentally locked in the biodome.
I'd say.
Same way he was accidentally in Nakatomi Plaza.
You're right, but there were far more people there, I think. So.
What you're not getting is John McClane's gonna be there for a year.
So he's gonna
Okay.
make all the people. So
He's gonna
have to manage
for a whole year.
He's gonna manage the animals. He's gonna milk the goats.
he's angry about his goats being threatened by terrorists.
Yeah, he builds an alliance with the Billy the goat.
Would he also get banished to the desert part of the biodome?
It doesn't have to be a beat for beats. We can take some creative liberties.
You know,
Bruce ain't gonna smell no farts.
I'm gonna
okay?
tell you, they made that guy Atherton's character like the bad guy, but I think he was perfectly justified in his insanity.
Totally.
These two absolute lunatic morons come into his carefully controlled ideological experiment
That he spent several years as life goal.
Yeah, and then they destroy it. And the worst part is they tie him to a tree and make him sit there and witness that. Of course, his mind broke.
Well, wasn't he also the one that was like, "No, we can't let them leave because they would ruin the sanctity of the."
That's also the problem, is that everyone is just not bright in this film.
Yeah.
There's no common sense here.
Right.
I'd like to give a special shout out to the soundtrack, which
Before you do that, I have to add another thing that just makes this movie like the worst is you're gonna tell me a hermetically sealed experiment just has like a key window that you can just
that somebody left in the lock.
Yeah, that someone just left the lock there that you could just open it. That's not how this works.
Yo, intern fucked up, bro.
No, where were the interns?
There was probably an
Fucking
intern.
janitor.
It's probably that cheap labor. Was the biodome built under union laws? We don't even know.
We don't even know.
Oh, right, yeah.
Also, why would the rich man keep trying to market their merchandise?
Because he's a private investor, so he's trying to make money off of this promotional thing.
So they became famous, is what, like, from that, is what he
Well,
thought.
this whole experiment was a publicity stunt.
Yes.
As
all biodomes are.
For this private company to show that it can have some effect, I guess, in the future of space travel.
All biodomes are a publicity stunt. I'm sorry, I know that sounds messed up, but they're all a publicity stunt.
Well, regardless, they wanted to sell some t-shirts and some Rock'em Sock'em Bud and Doyle robots. That's what they did.
Yeah, you're right. But I mean, yeah, like if we're thinking about biodomes, the idea that you are going to have an environment in which you have everything perfectly controlled, that's not regular life. That's not.
Well, and you know what's hilarious? Bud and Doyle make that exact point when they're trying to convince them.
I know. I remember
the environment, and they're right. Like that's like, why didn't anyone else think of that at any point? Like, this is not how life actually happens. So why are we even doing this?
Yeah, There's actually a documentary about we haven't watched it yet, but if you're interested in an actual attempt at a biodome experiment, there is a documentary about this strange kind of like nature cult, I guess, or futurist cult.
Yeah, we started watching a little bit of it. It's sort of about a like basically a bunch of like hippies.
It's called Spaceship Earth. It's currently on Hulu. And it is about a biodome experiment that kind of went awry.
Impossible.
And the
Wait, Spaceship Earth, like the Epcot?
Yeah.
ride?
but actually they tried to build a Spaceship Earth. Like they tried to build it. Yeah.
So
I'm just saying, if our listeners are actually interested in a real attempt at a biodome.
now you have to find them a fart sniffing documentary.
No thanks.
So that they get all of the facts in this. I'd like to shout out the song Da 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 by the German.
Oh my god, that was like a running
trio.
theme in this movie.
That was like the theme that would play when corporate was meeting with Bud and Doyle. That was the theme.
And this was like around the time that song was like massive, right?
In 1997, it was in a Volkswagen car commercial, and it was
Right.
very successful based off of the car commercial.
So that
Well,
was
a
after
year
this.
earlier, it was in Biodome, and
Whoa.
it only made $13 million. Then also a special shout out to Boom Shakalak,
Oh my
Right.
god.
Apache Indian, which scores the climax of the film as they fight over exploding coconuts. It's possibly one of the most 90s sequences that you could see in a 90s movie.
The whole soundtrack is like so incredibly 90s. It's hilarious.
Yes, this is a very 90s movie.
It really is.
Everything from the concept to
Pauly Shore.
Pauly Shore to just like the worst comedy attempts, like just
And then obviously a shout out to Safety Dance,
yeah.
which
Oh, yes.
was the official anthem of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't understand how that song represents
Anything.
environmentalism,
It does.
but I'm down with it
Yeah.
because it seems to work.
Because you can dance if you want.
I remember seeing this movie as a kid, and I greatly enjoyed it. It was definitely a guilty pleasure. As an adult, I think that it actually holds up pretty well compared to other movies of my youth, where I have to literally cringe through sequences and scenes. This movie's pretty digestible.
The thing about it holds up well in terms of like cringe stuff, like bad politics from that era. Like there's a lot of other movies that have really like they're like really homophobic or just like really just like cringy. This really doesn't have any of that. I mean, there's sexism.
Yeah.
But even that is like it's very 90s in a way. This was my first time seeing this movie, so I am a biodome virgin coming into this, and like I said before, like it was better than I thought it would be. Like I was expecting the worst pile of crap, and I was like fairly entertained for an hour and a half. It was still obviously horrible, and Pauly Shore being Pauly Shore is like, thank God that ended with this movie. But there was times there was things that made me laugh, and even the dumb gross stuff was like, oh god, lol, like it was still kind of just like entertaining in its own way. So
it's also interesting that this movie has like constant cutaways to Bud and Doyle at other parts of their life, which is a comedic trope that wouldn't become popular till like the mid 2000s in comedies.
Right.
Like it's a very Seth MacFarlane-y type of cutaway thing.
Yeah.
So in some ways it was kind of groundbreaking.
And I just kind of interesting to me that they decided to go with the cutaways, because it almost felt like they were like, we have all of this great material.
We don't have enough jokes.
We don't have enough movie. We gotta throw in
No,
some
no,
of this crap.
Can you imagine how much B-roll there is of Pauly Shore just riffing and like how annoying it all must be?
Oh my god. But they obviously felt like they had to put it in the movie to pad it.
Right.
Well, like literally the joke is so simple. The jokes are so simple that it's like they're on a roof together. Doyle jumps off the roof, breaks his leg.
Yeah.
Like that is like a sitcom joke
And
in a million
I'm
sitcoms.
gonna tell you something. I know that they have different last names, but it's never totally clear to me if they are brothers or just friends because there's only one mom.
They're clearly not brothers because they have different last names.
So they look like they appear to have been raised by the same woman.
If they were brothers, he would have said, "Hey bro, how are you doing, Brolio?"
I guess.
that's the proof, yes.
Yeah, I know, right?
We're blood brothers. We're bloody. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think it's more likely that they were bisexual lovers than that they were brothers.
But I'm saying it would add an interesting incestuous twist if they were
Right, yeah.
bisexual brother lovers.
You should direct message Jason Blum and say,
like,
"Hey, blow Biodome fans' minds 25 years later and tell everyone
yes,
that this was an incestuous ship." Boom.
please blow all three of their minds.
Oh my God, what would their ship? What would their ship name be?
Squirrely and Stubby, Bud and Doyle.
Squubby.
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 The nicknames that they have, they make no sense at all.
None.
We have no idea the context
There's no explanation for that.
for which they have. They could be sexual references in and of themselves.
Yep.
Squirrely in bed, he's stubby in bed. What does that mean? No one knows.
They're safe words.
It's a really good movie.
I wouldn't go that far.
It provoked conversation. It promoted environmentalism.
We've been talking about it for 40 minutes, so it's got to be better than 1% out of 100 Metacritic.
I'm sure that John Anderson of the Los Angeles Times would call us, would be very upset at us right now for talking about this for 40 minutes.
Well, what's his name from fucking the Double Bubble or whatever? Joe Blow. What was it called?
I'm just saying, like, there's not that many Pauly Shore movies. And this Pauly Shore movie, you could put side by side with Bill and Ted, with Harold and Kumar, with stoner teams, okay? And they could stand there proudly sniffing their own farts.
I would almost want to see like someone write a research paper or some sort of a critical analysis on why Pauly Shore became a thing in the 90s. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
no,
what I think it is.
I really honestly believe it's because he was presenting a different form of masculinity at the time. I really do. I know that sounds weird.
Mhm.
Like, part of it was there were people that wanted to laugh at him for doing that, and then there were other people that were maybe even inexplicably drawn to it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, even though his humor was so like childish and ridiculous, there was just something so glaringly strange about him, and I think that kind of was an appeal for people. Like, it drew them in, and they didn't know. And some people, it drew them in because they wanted to like gawk at it like a circus freak kind of thing.
Right.
Like, I'm not saying that's but I'm saying some people probably were just drawn to it because they had never seen anybody like him before, you know, doing things and doing movies and stuff like that. So,
I mean, I'll say this: there's
piece
never
of-
been anybody like Pauly Shore.
no, that's my tiny piece of media crit that I have. Is that he just blew people's minds a little bit for a second.
That makes sense, but as a celebrity, like, to me, I think he represents like the change in celebrity from like being like celebrities that are about like catchphrases and like being a type, you know, to the modern era of celebrity where you have to be a bit more mysterious, and you have to, be able to do more than one thing.
Yeah.
Like Seth Rogen is a Pauly Shore type,
Yeah, but he's
gotten
out of it.
Transcended out of that sort of role.
But I kind of feel like Pauly Shore might have been sort of one of those warning, like, what is it called? What is that?
Canary in a coal mine?
No, there's another word. Why can't I remember the word?
Bellwether?
What?
Bellwether?
No, I just mean he might have been a warning sign. That's the best word I've got right now. He might have been a warning sign to people like Seth Rogen, comedians like Seth Rogen, that you can't allow yourself to be typecast for too long. That you have
to become a parody of yourself.
Yeah, you have to break out of things, or else you're always going to be like trapped in that hole.
A cautionary tale.
Thank you, cautionary tale. Thank you, Derek.
So, do you have a favorite moment or a favorite line from the film Biodown?
Do I have?
I think my favorite moment in the film is when they are trying to they're talking to the marketing guy, and then they start impersonating a phone sex line, and then the business guy pulls out a cigarette and puts it in his lips and then takes it out like he was getting aroused.
Yeah.
By their phone conversation. I think that was the best part of the movie.
I mean, for me, probably just all the times when they were like super gay for each other are definitely my favorite parts.
I'm pretty sure that one of my favorite parts was just Joey Lauren Adams' green and blue striped shirt when she was wearing that the midriff shirt.
So just 1996 Joey Lauren Adams.
Yeah, that was definitely one of it.
That's a highlight for sure.
But yeah, I think my favorite part was actually the desert sequence was pretty funny. Because when they like didn't have food and they were being stupid, I liked that.
Do you think Stephen Baldwin is cute in this movie?
No.
No?
No.
D-rock, no? He's not
his
cute.
White boy dreads? No.
God, gag.
As a kid, I thought he was the good-looking one. I was like, he's the good-looking one in this.
Oh no, Pauly Shore's definitely the good-looking one.
Yeah, Pauly Shore is definitely the good-looking one, which isn't saying a lot in this movie, but it's definitely the better-looking one in this movie. Like, definitely.
Whoa.
He had cut his hair at this point. He didn't have that like stringy, like his hair was getting too stringy.
Mm.
He cut it.
Also, it's weird to think Joey Lauren Adams 1 year later is gonna do Chasing Amy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He's gonna do all of this like extremely dramatic acting, and the year before, she's just like, "Oh, well, Button, do I ever leave the bottom?"
I think it's just I don't know. I think Joey Lauren Adams had the same kind of difficulty in the 90s where she kind of just was typecast as like that quirky girl, and it was really hard for her to get out of that because she wasn't, even though she's gorgeous, I just think for a lot of people she wasn't considered at the time the classic idea of what an
because her voice
because she has this kind of cutesy voice, and
even in Mallrats, she's like, I mean, she's a little bit more eloquent, obviously, because it's Kevin Smith writing it, but she's still kind of that, like, sort of ditzy, sort of slutty character.
Yeah, she got typecast a lot.
Kylie Minogue says that this is the only film that she dreads when it's on TV. And that her father would always make fun of her.
Yeah, sometimes.
I guess in Australia it must get play.
Oh yeah.
Her father makes fun of her.
Her father makes fun of her.
Oh no.
About this movie.
I would die if I was her and my dad saw this movie.
You kissed Pauly Shore.
I'd be so.
Tell me, did he taste like chips? Like chippies? This was our glowing review of the seminal classic, most important film of 1996, Biodome.
This might be the best review of Biodome that anyone has ever done.
It's probably the most fair review, the
I'm-
most thoughtful.
I imagine in 50 years, they may just say it's a good movie.
Right.
Yeah, when full society's collapsed and all they have are old DVD copies of Biodome left to watch. It's
That
gonna
like
totally
Futurama
stop.
future that they pieced together from like the scraps of history.
All they have is Pauly Shore talking about historical events.
I'm pretty sure they'd like make fun of Pauly Shore directly in Futurama at one point.
A lot of people have.
Or the head of Pauly Shore, that's right.
We have now reached 100% homeostasis.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
You can tweet us at Vundacast. You can find our podcast anywhere where podcasts are distributed. Just search Vundacast. Leave us a review. Put some stars on it. Make us feel good. I have been your host, Steven.
And I've been Dani.
And non-binary world champion D-rock.
And remember, kids, when looking for a place to urinate, do not do it in behind. Wait, pause this whole remember, kids. Because this is a valuable point that me and Dani figured out when I was watching it with Dani. The whole plot and the whole problem of this movie, of them getting locked in a biodome, it could have been solved if the police had just communicated
Yes!
to them that this was not a mall.
Yes!
Okay? The whole plot of this film hinges on a cop just being short and defiant with them,
For no
and
reason!
them accepting that as a
Yes!
natural state of being in the world.
Yes!
That the cops would be unhelpful and informative.
So see, ACAB, baby. That's all
So
about.
remember, kids, ACAB.
Da.
You may be trapped in a biodome for 1 year.
Da, da, da.
Hail Thunder. Hail Thunder.
Vundacast? Give it
Yeah.
up for Vundacast, man. What an adorable name.
You're listening to the Vundacast.
What's up, everybody? This is Jason David Frank, Green Ranger. You're listening to Vundacast.
Subscribe to the Vundacast.